ConnectForth, the radio forum for students.
FVC, the place to relax and enjoy contemporary cuisine. The Gallery is Forfar College's premier restaurant situated on our Stirling campus with a stunning view of one of Scotland's most famous landmarks, the Wallace Monument. Join us for breakfast on weekdays from 10 to 11:15 or enjoy lunch in the afternoon from 12 till 2. And between 5 and 7pm on Tuesdays and Thursdays you are invited to savour a premium dinner perfected by our team of professional chefs. For reservations, call us at 01786 406 027 or send an email to gallery@forfvalley.ac.uk. FVC, the place to be.
FVC, the place to be for hair and beauty. From waxing to facial, styling to colour and foil, come and relax with us at our salons, based out of 3 of our 4 campuses in Alloa, Raploch and Falkirk, now open on Thursdays and Fridays. To find out the contact information, pick up one of the leaflets from around the college, or go on our Facebook page or the college website. FBC, the place to be for hair and beauty.
ConnectForth feature.
Scotland stands divided. Both the campaigns around the independence referendum are now in full flow, and the debate is becoming heated all over the country. However, many people still have concerns.
There's a lack of information.
People are playing on patriarchy too much.
It hasn't really been made clear.
I think the campaigns are scaremongering.
No one knows the facts.
There's too many risks involved, like the uncertainty with getting into the EU and with the currency, it's just too much of a risk.
With the September vote drawing ever closer, it is time to get more information. This ConnectForth feature is going to show you the opinion of the No campaign, as well as some of the complaints people have had with Better Together. Hopefully you can identify with some of their opinions and feel more informed on the debate. To get more detail on Better Together, I interviewed Ross McRae, the head of broadcast for the campaign, and asked him the main reasons why we should be voting no and choose to stay part of the UK.
I mean, in Scotland, I think we have the best of both worlds. We have a strong Scottish Parliament with full powers over health, education and the environment, but we also have the strength, security and opportunity of being part of something bigger, which is the UK.
In your opinion, what are the main downfalls of the Yes campaign?
I think that, we've just not had credible answers from Alex Salmond's campaign, whether it's to do with the currency, whether it's to do with the EU, whether it's to do with, so many other aspects of daily life. We just don't have credible answers from Alex Salmond's campaign. Alex Salmond's campaign brought out a white paper on independence, which was meant to answer every question that people had. But at the end of the day, they still couldn't tell us what currency we'd be using in independent Scotland. Now, we only get to do this vote once. There's no going back from that. So we have to have all the facts, and frankly, the Yes campaign have just not spelled out the facts that people need.
From a student point of view, how do you think they will benefit from voting no?
Well, look, I think it comes down again to having the best of both worlds, which is we can make decisions about education here in Scotland, so we can have free tuition in Scotland under devolution, but we can still be part of the UK. That policy can still be delivered as part of the UK. But then when you're leaving university, the first thing, certainly when I left university, was like, well, how am I going to get a job? What am I going to do? And we know that from being part of the UK, we have more job opportunities, but there's UK companies who are investing here in Scotland. Our biggest trading partner in Scotland is the rest of the UK. If we vote to separate, we put that at risk. And I don't see the need to do that. We can make the decisions here in Scotland, but we can also have that strength, security and opportunity that we have from being part of the rest of the UK. What's the point in giving that up?
In the event of a no vote, do you still think that there will be changes for Scotland?
Well, we know there will be changes. We know it's absolutely guaranteed. There's going to be further powers for our Scottish Parliament. There's tax-raising powers coming in 2015 and even more that will be instigated in 2016. But on top of that, we know that the pro-devolution parties are going to be outlining, and some of them already have, what more powers will come to the Scottish Parliament. So the Liberal Democrats have set out their federalism, the Labour Party have set out their further powers in the Together We Can red paper, and the Scottish Conservatives will be coming forward to the end of this month, but we've had assurances from the Prime Minister that there will be more devolution and devolution will be extended. So, there's definitely, absolutely guaranteed more powers for our Parliament if we stay in the UK.
It was clear Ross was very passionate about the campaign and always stressed the importance of having the best of both worlds. Devolved power, as well as risk, seem to be the major factors influencing this vote. But what do we think about this vote? To get a student point of view, I visited Stirling University to find out the opinion of newly elected Sports Union President Christopher Priddle and find out his concerns over the referendum. So Chris, what is convincing you to vote no?
I certainly think that the Yes campaign, especially recently, it's been a lot more prominent. They're doing a lot better on social media, which is what a lot of young people would see. And the Better Together seems to be using the wrong kind of campaign tactics. I think it seems to be a lot more negative, whereas the Yes Scotland seems to be kind of appealing more to young people in general. That's the kind of vibe that you get when you're at uni here. I mean, I can see a lot of the key points. I think it would be great for Scotland to be by itself, but it's just a huge risk to take. And I think there's so many things that haven't quite been accounted for yet in the Yes Scotland campaign. Obviously the currency is the major one that we all hear about, and there's just lots of little things they don't think about, like there's so many communities in Scotland that have defence bases and things around them, and their economies just survive. In order to survive, they need these bases. They've not really spelled out how they're going to deal with these kind of places maybe closing, or if they're going to move them, and other little things like embassies in foreign countries. What are we going to do about that? It's like, are we going to just tag along, or are we going to get new passports? There's just lots of little things that they don't seem to have answers for now.
So we have heard from the no vote. It is clear that risk and uncertainty are playing major parts in this vote. But what does the Yes campaign argue? I decided to talk to Yes Scotland activist Kieran Boyle, also a student at Stirling University, to get a viewpoint from the other side. So Kieran, can you tell us briefly what are your main reasons behind voting yes?
Well, I believe voting yes will make Scotland a much fairer country, democratically wise. We, as a nation, don't really have a say in how Westminster's run. There's only been about 4 elections, I think, since the 40s where Scottish votes have actually impacted the outcome of the Westminster election. So that's a big deal for me. I think the Scottish Parliament democratically is gives Scotland a lot fairer representation. But one of my main reasons is because I don't want weapons of mass destruction on the Clyde that have the capability of flattening and annihilating entire cities.
So why should we vote no in the referendum?
It's a campaign built on fear. It's a campaign built on you can't do this, and you won't do this, and you will fail. And that's not any way to run a political campaign. They're just trying to scaremonger. That's how I feel. Yes, we could get more powers if we vote no, but if we vote yes, we'll get all the powers overnight. We'll get 100% of the powers overnight if we vote yes. Why vote no and get some powers when you can go vote yes and get all the powers?
Do you think the relationship between UK and Scotland will be affected?
Obviously, if Scotland votes yes, the relationship's going to change, but I don't think it will change drastically, and I don't think it's going to change in a bad way. I mean, I remember a very early Better Together leaflet saying Scotland trades more with England, Wales, Northern Ireland than any other country. And I thought, yeah, and is that going to change if we vote no? Or, the UK government going to turn around and say, oh, you've decided to, go your own way, you've decided to vote for independence, that's fine, but we're not going to trade with you anymore. It just seems like a very petty argument and a very petty scenario that realistically is not going to come true.
And finally, what would you say to people if you just had one sentence to convince them to vote yes?
Because we have an opportunity. We have a absolutely immense opportunity for change, and I don't think we can afford to waste it.
So there we have it, both sides of the independence debate. It seems a lot more information is needed in order for people to make a decision that they will feel comfortable with. It is the most important vote that we have had in our lifetime, so get researching and see what you think. The decision is ours. Is it risk or is it comfort zone? Safety or uncertainty? Should we stay or should we go?
Darling, you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go? If you say that you are mine.
Come down to your local View Cinema, where you're always guaranteed a high quality service. View Cinemas offer the latest releases for customers of all ages. View Cinemas also offer a range of drinks and snacks for your delight. View Cinemas offer competitive ticket prices: £6.90 for adults, £5.20 for kids, £4.30 for students, and £20.80 for a family of four. And for just an extra £1.50 per ticket, you can enjoy selected movies in eye-catching 3D. For more information on prices and movie showings, visit www.myview.com.
Exams and final assessments are now looming large. Waterstones have a great selection of books to help you over the line. Situated at the Marches Centre, Stirling, and High Street, Falkirk, Waterstones is open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday and 11 to 5 p.m. on Sundays. The Stirling branch is also open till 8 p.m. on Thursdays. Students get a 10% discount on purchases of £25 or more in association with Unidays. Simply go on to www.waterstones.com or myunidays.com to receive your unique discount code and order your books. It's free delivery to all UK addresses and the order is dispatched within 24 hours. For leisure time after all that hard work, Waterstones have a great selection of books for all genres. Thrillers, fantasy and sci-fi books are available for as little as £5.59. So for all your leisure reading or studies, get to Waterstones.
Come down to Cineworld for the ultimate film experience. Grab some popcorn, a drink, and kick back and relax. Cineworld is dedicated to bringing you the hottest new releases, and with great student discounts, there's never been a better time to go to the cinema. Find us at Central Retail Park, Falkirk. And don't forget about Bargain Tuesdays. Any ticket, any time, only £5.80. Or pay monthly for our unlimited card to enjoy as many films as you want. Check out more at cineworld.co.uk.
ConnectForth feature.
Do you consider yourself Scottish or British?
I consider myself Scottish purely because I live in Scotland.
Scottish.
I was born in Scotland and my whole family's Scottish.
Scottish.
I consider myself Scottish.
Scottish.
I'd say more British because I know a lot of English people and I like to fit in with them as well.
Scottish.
I consider myself Scottish.
Scottish.
British. Scottish.
I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break.
One of the most discussed topics of 2013 was Scottish independence, and I bet you're sick of hearing about it by now. So today I'm going to talk about Scottish independence. Now before you get bored and tune out, the show is not going to be boring and ramble on about things that are not confirmed. This show is going to give you a conclusive answer. It will be clear, concise, informative, and hopefully by the end you will know exactly who you're voting for. If you're like me and every other 16 to 21 year old, you either aren't going to vote this year or just going to vote for what your mum and dad tell you to, and that could be very dangerous for your future. Most people think I'm just one person, it won't make much difference if I don't vote, but that's where you're wrong. It only takes one vote to make the difference, so your vote literally could make or break this decision. What you need to realise is that the outcome of this vote will directly impact our lives more than any other generation. If we go independent, there is no going back, so you need to have all the information at your disposal before making an informed decision. I asked a handful of students over the Falkirk, Alloa and Stirling campuses the following question. What are you voting in this year's Scottish referendum?
I have a rough idea, but I want more information first.
Right now I'm swaying towards saying yes.
I'm undecided at the moment. I'd like to learn more about the consequences of either side before I make a decision.
Probably just stick with Britain, that's what we're used to.
I'm voting yes.
I think the argument makes a bit more sense.
No, I don't know what I'm voting for because I don't feel like I know enough about it.
Definitely yes.
I'm probably sitting on the fence on this one.
I'm not entirely sure yet. I need to get more information too.
So the question is, why should you vote yeah?
O Florida, Scotland, when will we see our life again?
The yes vote is supported by Alex Salmond, the leader of the Scottish National Party, the Scottish Greens led by Alison Johnston and Patrick Harvey, and independent MSP Margot MacDonald. But why should you support it? So here are the facts about Scottish independence. One point that has been focused on is that any decision made will be made by the people of Scotland, rather than Westminster, which is made up of politicians that are primarily English. This means that Scotland will be a more democratic country.
Tax and social security rates will be decided upon by Scotland's people, ending policies such as the bedroom tax.
A new economic policy will be formed focusing on economic stability and job security to benefit Scotland.
The public's taxes will not be used to pay for nuclear weapons.
Extension of childcare to make it easier for parents to return to work.
Simplification of the tax system. Scotland will gain an estimated amount of £250 million a year.
Minimum wage will rise in the line with inflation.
A reduction of energy bills by an estimated 5%.
Scotland will become a richer country. Reports show that over the past 32 years, Scotland has contributed more tax per head of population than the UK as a whole.
Students will continue to have free access to the education system.
The NHS services will remain the same.
Plans to create a new public service broadcaster named Scottish Broadcasting Service, or SBS as it will be referred to. This will initially be based on the staff and assets of BBC Scotland, but will eventually develop new services to reflect the interests of the people of Scotland. It will be broadcast on TV, radio and the internet. The SBS will have connections with the BBC network to continue to broadcast programming such as EastEnders, Doctor Who, Strictly Come Dancing and CBeebies. For a recap of the pros of the Yes vote, visit BBC News Online.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be...
Joining us now on ConnectForth Radio, Patrick Harvey from the Green Party. Why should we vote yes in the 2014 Scottish referendum?
The Scottish Green Party believes that not only is humanity, not just Scotland, facing an economic, social and ecological crisis, but that Scotland is really well placed to put solutions to those crises in place, transforming our economy, closing the gap between rich and poor, and really investing in the future sustainable industries that Scotland has, things like renewable resources that we have in abundance. We can be creating jobs for the future, sustainable economic systems, and closing the gap between rich and poor. But right now, I think Scotland becoming independent, demonstrating that another political and economic direction is possible and beneficial, could not only be a huge benefit to people living in Scotland, but demonstrate to people in other parts of the UK that they don't have to stick with that kind of status quo politics that they've been living with for far too long.
If the outcome of the vote is independence, what date would we change into an independent country?
Well, the current Scottish Government's proposal is that Scotland will become independent roughly at the time of the next Holyrood election, which is scheduled for May 2016. In the event of a yes vote, I don't think the Scottish hand will be strong if we're the ones imposing a time limit that the UK doesn't need to meet. So it's achievable, that time limit to May 2016, but I think it would be challenging. And I think the time limit is less important than the mandate. If we make this decision, then we need to set about implementing it in a stable way, in a manageable way, and in a way that maintains good, friendly relationships with our neighbours in the rest of the UK. In many ways, this is about changing the relationship to one of mutual respect and more a relationship of equals between the countries of the UK.
Will public transport, i.e. buses and trains, be affected in an independent Scotland?
Well, many aspects of public transport are already devolved, but that's within a funding settlement for devolution where the Scottish Government simply relies on a block grant. And when the UK Government cuts, and they're cutting an awful lot at the moment, those cuts are fed through to Scotland. So if we want to spend more on public transport in Scotland, and I would like to see subsidies, because, for a great many people, public transport is unreliable and unaffordable. If we're going to do that, at the moment, it could only be done by cutting other services, and that just isn't good enough. There are other aspects of the transport system which are currently controlled at Westminster. For example, if we wanted to bring the railways back into public control so that they're run for public benefit rather than for private companies' profit, that's currently illegal. But if independence is achieved, then we can change that legislation here in Scotland in a way that the UK simply won't do, and we could take democratic control again of our railways. I'd like to see regulation of buses as well, and I think it's going to need political change. At the moment, when Labour are in government in Scotland, they say we can't do it, and they go into opposition and say we must re-regulate the buses, and the same thing's true of the SNP. So we need to change that dynamic on public transport and make sure that public transport users have got more of a voice in that debate.
What effect will Scottish independence have on students?
Scotland has managed to avoid the idea of the massive fees that are being charged for higher education, but often that's come at the expense of other things, because just as with the earlier discussion about the funding of other services, when the UK government cuts, as they did when they introduced fees for higher education, that meant less money going in from the taxpayer. That was fed through to Scotland, and it's in many ways further education colleges which have borne the brunt of those cuts. If we're independent, then we control our own budget, all of our own budget, and we can decide if we don't have to trade off higher education against further education or other public services. I think only independence gives us the ability to guarantee for the long term that we're going to keep education free to access, and that we're going to properly fund both the colleges and the universities.
Do you think Scottish independence will have a positive effect on the cultural diversity of our country?
There is more that we can do to celebrate the diversity of our cultures in Scotland, the increasing diversity of languages in many parts of Scotland that have come through immigration, and the cultural richness that comes from immigration. I think Scotland wants to be a welcoming culture, one which doesn't suffer from some of the xenophobic rhetoric that we hear all too often from some parts of the political landscape and some media outlets south of the border. But that rich diversity of culture, of language, of art, of food, of creativity, I think is one of our strengths as a society.
Thanks for speaking with us today, Patrick. So now that you've heard the facts about the yes vote, does this change your mind? So you've heard the facts on what an MP thinks, but ultimately this decision lies with you, and it's your responsibility to vote accordingly. Remember, every vote counts. Your vote potentially could change everything, so it is important to think about the facts, and of course it is important to vote. So mark the date in your calendars, Thursday 18th of September 2014, the day that everything could change.
Everything has changed. All I know is you held the door. You'll be mine and I'll be yours. Oh, I know since yesterday, is everything has changed.
FVC, the place to relax and enjoy contemporary cuisine. The Bistro is Forth Valley College's own cutting-edge dining experience located on the Raploch campus. Open every weekday from 9 till 4. Come sit down with us and enjoy a hot cup of coffee with a selection of delicious pastries and confectionery delights. If you're feeling peckish, join us for breakfast in the morning or a delicious lunch in the afternoon. The Bistro is also open till 6 on Wednesdays, where we host a carve raid from free featuring a variety of premium meats. For reservations, please call 01786 272 318 or email us at bistro@forthvalley.ac.uk. FVC, the place to be.
700 years after the legendary battle, the new Battle of Bannockburn experience puts you right at the heart of Scotland, in the centre of the action. The newly reopened Heritage Centre allows you to be part of the crucial event in Scottish history. Using cutting-edge technology, experience medieval combat like never before. This experience is as realistic as it is awe-inspiring. To take your place amongst the brave warriors, then contact the Heritage Centre on 0844 493 2139. That's 0844 493 2139. or simply log on to www.battleofbannockburn.com.
ConnectForth, the radio forum for students. ConnectForth.
You have been listening to ConnectForth, the radio forum for students.
Radio.
This podcast was brought to you by the Back 2 Media and Communications students. We thank you for listening and we hope you will continue to tune in.